Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, my husband Jake is going to tell us about 10 books, I think plus an honorable mention maybe, that he really wants me to read.
Yes, we just did a video with the opposite of this, where you picked books that you want me to read, but I want to pick books that I want you to read.
Oh boy.
And hopefully, I think most of these you will enjoy.
Oh, most? You don't think I'm going to enjoy all of them?
Statistically speaking, you probably won't enjoy all of them, but I hope you do.
Now I'm suspicious.
We'll see. Before we start, I have the books hidden, so Stacy doesn't know what books I picked. I kept it a surprise.
Are these all physical books we own, or are there
Yeah.
any we don't own?
They're all physical.
Okay, interesting.
So I'm gonna go peek over here and pull off the first one, which of course is The Way of Kings.
Oh yeah, obviously I could have told you this was going to be on the list.
This is my second favorite book of all time besides A Storm of Swords and Stormlight Archive, my second favorite fantasy series. You've read some Sanderson, but eventually...
I've read a lot of Sanderson.
But you haven't read Stormlight,
No.
which is my favorite.
I have read Warbreaker, Elantris, all of Era 1, and I've started Era 2, in case anyone's wondering. And I've also read some of the novellas, like Emperor's Soul, and I also read Rhythmatist.
But Way of Kings.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to Stormlight. I will, eventually.
Yes, one of my favorites.
Okay.
And I think you will like it.
Yes, I think so too.
And the second book I have, this one I'm not sure you're going to like, but I want you to read it anyway.
Oh boy.
It's my favorite author,
You have many favorite authors.
but my favorite.
So it's either Stephen King or George.
My favorite author is George.
Okay. So George R. R. Martin, in case anyone's wondering.
It's Fever Dream.
Okay, the vampire one.
Yes, it's his vampire novel.
That's literally all I know.
That's all you need to know.
Oh,
Jump in.
okay.
He wrote this, so if y'all don't know, George obviously wrote A Song of Ice and Fire. But before that, in the 70s and 80s, he wrote some sci-fi and horror stuff. And he wrote this vampire novel in, I think, 1982. So, yeah, I want you to read it and see what you think.
Okay. I'll give it a go. I really enjoyed A Song of Ice and Fire when I read it. And I also read The Ice Dragon and also really enjoyed that. So I am looking forward to exploring more of his work.
How do you feel about vampires? I'm not a big vampire fan, but this is my favorite vampire novel.
I think it depends how they're done. I've read some things with vampires where it's great, and then other things with vampires where it's not so great. So it just really depends.
I think he puts an interesting spin on it.
Okay.
Next book is a thriller that I've recently read that I really enjoyed, and you have not read it, and I want you to. Maybe not like super recently, but recently.
I have no guesses then.
No guesses?
No guesses. I'm only thinking recent.
Okay. It is The Housemaid
Oh, yes. I could have guessed
by,
this.
oh God, what's her name?
Frida McFadden, right?
Frida McFadden. So I've read book 1, The Housemaid, and the sequel, The Housemaid Returns.
Okay. And this one's better, you think?
Yeah, this is a 5-star book. I thought it was really fun. And the second one was also really good, but it had like one minor thing that bumped it down to 4.5.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see whether you get along with this or not.
Okay.
Do you know anything about it?
I know nothing.
Good.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoy it whenever you get to it. So my next book is also by my favorite author of all time.
George R. R. Martin.
Any guesses?
Is it short stories?
No.
Then no.
It's novellas.
Okay. Is it?
A Knight of the Seven
Okay.
Kingdoms, which is actually 3 prequel novellas that take place about 100 years before A Song of Ice and Fire, which you do really like.
Yes.
So it only makes sense for you to read this, and you haven't.
And one of them is Duncan the Egg.
They're all Duncan Egg stories.
Oh. Well, I know who Egg is. Or Egg.
So I want you to read it because it's George telling a really good story, but also kind of in a different tone and setting. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you think.
How is the tone different?
It's more, it's not as dark and gloomy.
Okay.
Like, it's more kind of, I mean, maybe you won't like this description, but it kind of has more of a classic fantasy feel to it, which I know you don't love, but it's George doing it, so it's better.
Okay. That's fair.
So this next book is a first book in a fantasy series that I just recently read and really enjoyed.
How recent we talking?
Very recent.
And you've only read the first book?
Any guesses?
Is it indie?
No.
Then no.
It's Priest of Bones
Okay.
by Peter McLean.
This is not a trilogy.
I didn't say trilogy.
Oh, I thought you said trilogy for some reason.
No.
Well, there are a lot of fantasy trilogies, so it's a fair assumption for my brain to make.
You are interrupting my thing.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, but yeah, it's Priest of Bones by Peter McLean, and this is the first book in the War for the Rose Throne. I think it's 4 books. It's a quartet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked the first book. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
It's kind of got, I mean, you're more of a grimdark fan than me. I wouldn't say that it's grimdark, but it has grimdark elements in it for sure.
So it's just dark fantasy.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's got some dark moments in there for sure. And I really like the main character.
Okay.
I think we'll get along with it.
Interesting.
Are you excited to read it?
Yes, I am.
So this next one is by an author, a sci-fi author that you've read, but you haven't read this series from.
I was going to guess Crichton until you said series.
It's not Crichton. One of my favorite sci-fi authors.
Tchaikovsky?
Nope. He is on the list. I'll give you that. But this one in particular is not Tchaikovsky.
Sylvain Neuvel, then.
Bingo!
Yay!
A History of What Comes Next, which is the first book in his kind of newest trilogy, Take Them to the Stars.
Okay.
So you've already read Themis Files, which is my favorite trilogy of all time.
And I've also read some of his novellas, like The Test and No Kindness Too Soon.
Yeah. And generally you like his stuff.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see what you think of his newer trilogy.
Okay. Is this related at all to Themis Files or no? Oh, so there's like loose connections, but you don't have to read this after kind of thing? Do the people have to read Themis Files before reading this?
No.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
I won't say anything.
There's Easter eggs, apparently.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
All right, this next book is also a first book in a fantasy series. I think you will actually like this more than me.
So it's dark.
Do you have any guesses?
Is it a trilogy?
Yes.
Is it indie?
Yes.
It's Blackstone Heart.
It's Blackstone Heart.
Yes, I am excited to read this one.
By Michael R. Fletcher, the first book in Obsidian Path.
Yes.
And I gave, I think, all 3 books roughly 4 to 4.5 stars. I think this has a potential to be a new favorite for you.
Yes,
Because you do really like darker fantasy more than I do. And it's definitely got that tone to it. So I think it'll be a new favorite for you.
I think so too, especially because a lot of my friends with similar reading tastes have read this and really enjoyed it.
So this next author you had already guessed, it's Adrian Tchaikovsky.
Okay.
Do you know which book?
One
Do you know which book I picked for you?
It's the one where the spines are different colors, but I don't remember which one that is. It's not No, it's Children of Time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very interested to see what you think of this one.
What's the other series called that we have?
Final Architecture.
Okay.
You might like that one too, but also I think I'm just more interested to get your opinion on this one.
Okay.
You might like the other one more now that I think about it.
Interesting. Okay.
But this one I think is maybe my favorite by him. Do you know anything about it?
I know nothing.
Okay, well, it'll be fun to get your reaction at least.
So I'm supposed to go in not knowing anything.
Well, I mean, generally people know going in that it involves spiders.
Oh, okay. I have heard of this one a little bit.
Yeah, it's like spiders, but like
Giant?
Spiders with like heavy evolution to the point where they have a society.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm not overly spooked by spiders, so I should be okay with that aspect.
It's a fun book.
Okay.
This one is a self-pub horror book that I really liked that was recommended to us from our dear friend who's no longer with us, Sharon.
Is this in the hills above the gristmill? No, okay. Is it The Grip of It?
No.
I don't know then. She's recommended us so many.
Ungodly
Okay.
by
yeah.
Braden Reddick. This was a really fun, actually horror debut book.
Okay.
It was very good, and it's really good to go into it not really knowing anything, so I don't really want to tell you anything about it other than I hope you like it.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll get there eventually.
All right, we have one more and then an honorable mention. This one is a horror book. Do you have
But
any
not
guesses?
self-pub?
No.
No.
No guesses?
It could be so many things.
The author is generally referred to by one name.
King?
No. I
Not
didn't pick any
King.
king for you.
That's unusual. For you not to pick King?
You've already read a lot of King, so
That is
I'm
fair.
going with other authors.
That is fair. One name horror author.
4 letters.
Brom.
It's Krampus.
Okay.
This
That's
is my favorite by Krampus. It's a lot of fun. It's basically just Krampus versus Santa Claus,
Oh boy.
but it's like dark and horror and a lot of fun. So
So I should save it for Christmas time?
you could, yeah.
Okay.
I think you'll like it. It's definitely got some dark moments and some comedic moments. But yeah, overall, I gave it 5 stars. Really enjoyed it.
I want you to show them the art on the back because it's cool looking.
It's Krampus. But yeah, hopefully maybe you'll get to it this Christmas.
Maybe. We'll see.
And I'm throwing this one in as an honorable mention because you've already read it, but I
So
want you to
you
read it again and hopefully you'll like it more.
Oh boy. So is this something I read when I was new to a genre? Ah, okay. Interesting. Is it Witcher?
It's Witcher,
Okay, yeah.
The
that's
Last
fair.
Wish. This is one of my favorite fantasy series. And when you told me that you really did not get along with The Last Wish, I was disappointed.
Well, to be fair, I had been kind of new to short stories and I was new to fantasy. And I have since read some of the other fantasy that I either DNF'd or like read in that era and enjoyed it a lot more. So there is a fair chance I will like this more this time around.
I hope so, because it's a really fun series.
Okay.
And I think you were complaining, probably rightfully so, about some of the women characters in the book.
There is some objectification for sure.
But what I will say is that his female characters that he introduces later on in the series is really good, and he actually has some very powerful feministic qualities to them.
Okay.
So I will say that much.
Okay. I'm thinking more like, from what I remember, the objectification stuff was like, there's one story where there is this like girl who's turned into something else and the dad's like, oh, if you can't turn her back pretty, just don't bother, and like crap like that, you know? I'm like, kind of frustrating that way.
Well, maybe you'll get along with it better this time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I
But
think-
that's just my honorable mention.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of thing, like from a villain's perspective, makes sense, but I don't remember it being portrayed as like a villainous character, and so I'm like,
Well, the whole thing about The Witcher is that the real monsters are the humans.
okay,
So it makes sense that there would be a character like that.
okay, fair.
So those are all of the books that I picked for you that I'm excited for you to read.
Okay,
Hopefully you get to these sometime in the near future, and hopefully you get along with them.
hopefully. It's interesting because I don't know a whole lot about so many of them that I don't know if I can really say I'm very excited to read them, just because I don't know. So what on the list are you most excited for me to get to?
Way of Kings.
Well, okay, other than Way of Kings.
Oh God. Well, now I gotta go through the pile. No, probably not that, or that, or that, or that. Most excited. Oh, probably Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Okay.
Because, yeah, Song of Ice and Fire is my favorite series, and these are really good novellas, and I want you to try them out.
Okay, sounds good. So what on the list do you think I should read first? What are you most excited to see me read? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit like and subscribe on the way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye.